Today on the Region Free Gamers podcast, the band is back together. Arnaldo's on vocals. And honestly, who cares about the rest? Arnie's on vocals. Hello everyone, welcome to the Region Free Gamers podcast, the podcast fluent in gaming. My name is Paul Romalo, and with me today, one-man band Arnaldo Perez.
This is where you insert like the intro from To the Fire and the Flames.
Yeah, I'm not going to insert really cool anything, but thank you for the suggestion.
He's never going to do that.
Shredding away on lead guitar, Kelly Branford.
Yeah, we got this going on this morning. Hi, guys.
Yes, indeed. And the glue that holds it all together on the tambourine, Mike Doucette.
Come on.
That's right.
Really? The tambourine?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. You ever been in one of those like Korean karaoke rooms? You gotta have a tambourine, man.
I guess I got that swag, man. I guess I got that going on for me.
Oh, Arnie just blew my mind. Oh my god, the next time I go to a private room, I'm totally bringing a tambourine.
They usually have tambourines in the room.
They do?
Yeah. They should.
Well, I've been to just shit karaoke clubs then, because like I've never seen a tambourine in one of those rooms. That's awesome.
Yeah, they usually do, because you need somebody who, like, the person who's like, I don't want to sing or whatever. Yeah. It's like, all right, you're on tambourine duty for every fucking song,
man. Kelly, have you been to, like, a private karaoke room or just, like, at a bar?
Once in Vegas, and I was literally, like, I ran, and my friends grabbed and dragged me back towards it.
Because I find the private karaoke room way more enjoyable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, a million times.
Yeah.
I've only done public karaoke one time, but I've tried to do it like 3, and that should tell you, like, if there's a public karaoke going on anywhere and you don't get there, I want to say within like the first hour of it being open, you're not gonna sing a song.
Well, there's that.
Like, you're gonna put your little paper in, and you're gonna sit for 1.5 hours, and they're gonna be like, all right, we're out of time, see you, everybody.
So there's that part of it, and I also think the other part of it is that, like, then you get those cases where, like, there's some people who get up and they're really good, but they kind of, maybe it's because they're trying a little too hard, and then you feel self-conscious if you go up, and it's just like, you know, when you have the room and you're just with your friends, you just cut loose, man. Like, you just have fun. Sure, yeah. Nobody
it really
cares,
opens up.
Know?
It really opens up the range too, because it's like, I'll play this song that I would never play in public, but I'll definitely torture like my 3 best friends for like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, Mike, I agree with you. Like, as someone who's never sung karaoke in the public room, I would also feel self-conscious. That said, as a spectator, I enjoy the people who are like middling way more than the semi-professionals.
Oh yeah, hell yes, dude, absolutely. It's funny because I didn't even know there was private room ones. You know, they used to do it in this neighborhood where I was growing up, and we'd all go get wasted and do it every Wednesday. And it was kind of like air conditioning. As soon as I saw, there's private rooms and you just go with your friends, I was like, oh man, I don't think I could do the public one anymore at all. Like, all of a sudden, like, it kind of ruined it for me. But no, absolutely, man. It's all about the people who get up there and they just belt it out. Like, they just go for it. They're like, I love this song. And they just kind of like freak out, and you're like, yeah, you know, that's cool. Not the guy who gets up and sings Don't Stop Believing literally every Friday.
Oh, hey, we had one of those at the bar I went to. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I'm the Wonderwall guy.
Oh God,
that's kind of worse.
Isn't it like 7 minutes long?
The worst song.
It's so much worse.
It's a good song that's been ruined thoroughly.
It's a great song, man.
Yeah.
That song is really like.
But
where are my words?
There was
Holy
this.
shit.
We used to have like the best fucking setup too, because in Northern Virginia there is an area, and I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's basically little Koreatown, like, for Virginia. Like, there's South Korean newspapers, all sorts of restaurants, grocery stores, everything. And there was this like very small, like super cool karaoke place, and right across the street from it was a 24-hour Korean barbecue place. So you go do karaoke, do your soju shots, like get fucking hammered, and then at 2 a.m. or whatever when they're closing down, you just run across the street and just devour like Korean barbecue for 2 hours.
I want to be doing that right fucking now.
I know, man.
Make it home by 5.
I'm so hungry now.
Jesus Christ.
So good.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I love late night, not North American food.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Mike, do you remember New Ho King in Toronto?
I do.
I'm sorry. What kind of king?
I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
It's not just a catchy name though. They have it's a Chinese restaurant, and they have absolutely delicious General Tso chicken. And they're open till like 4:30 or 5 a.m. or something like that.
The best.
And that was always the place, man. Like you go out to the bar, then you go to New Ho King, get yourself some General, and life is good.
Yeah.
Man, I miss that. Anyhow, today might have given you a little bit of a hint now with the musical chat here, but today we're going to delve into what I think anyway is one of gaming's great mysteries, one that we all have theories for, and that is what happened to Rock Band and its genre, that whole music game band genre. Like I said, I think we all have theories, but having done some pretty interesting research, I think we're going to present a pretty complete picture today, and it's going to be an entertaining picture at that. So before we get rolling, big thanks, as usual, of course, to all our listeners, everyone watching us on Twitch today, and especially our patrons and everyone on the Region Free Discord, who, I mean, frankly, inspire us to work harder on the show and not be such lazy piles of trash. So if any of you out there listening would like to get in touch or join our Discord or Patreon, you can do so via our link tree, and that's linktr.ee/regionfreegamers, and that'll point you to everything RFG related. And hey, don't forget to tell a friend about the show while you're at it. And you know, having gone over that, like sometimes I feel like I'm asking a lot. Like, okay, so tell a friend.
All right, fuck.
And when you're done, I have some shirts that need ironing.
Yeah.
And you know that breakfast isn't gonna make itself.
Could you pay for my rent next month? Yes.
I like to imagine that there's somebody just having a great day, and then we tell them to do something like, oh, fuck. All right. Well, now I just got to add this to my fucking to-do list.
Just put it on the to-do list. Damn it.
All right. So Rock Band, Guitar Hero, etc., etc. I think really the most logical place to start is with the one big question. And I'll start with you, Mike. The big question, were you a Guitar Hero guy or a Rock Band guy?
I was a Rock Band guy. I started as a Guitar Hero guy, obviously, because it was the one that was out first. And I remember playing a demo of it in an EB or a GameStop and just feeling and just hearing a lot about it beforehand. Everybody was saying, oh my God, it's so fun, it's so cool. And then I played the demo and I was like, this is crazy addictive, to the point where I think I was there with my parents and my dad was getting angry at me because I kept playing songs as a full grown adult.
Yeah, I'm saying, I know how old you are.
Oh yeah, full grown adult. I mean, it was what I was like easily in college. But anyway, then Rock Band came out, and Rock Band just had I feel like Rock Band just kind of felt more like it was still indulging that fantasy of actually being in a band, whereas Guitar Hero sort of felt like they really leaned into this sort of kind of rock star macho angle of it, and I kind of just wasn't as into that. And you know, and also the idea of playing all the other quote unquote instruments was kind of fun. So I was definitely a Rock Band guy.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Kelly?
Since I got into it very late, when the whole craze started, I was busy with the college scene and, you know, traveling the country. But by the end there, when I was working at Best Buy, they had the Guitar Hero on sale for extremely cheap. So, of course, our house was a Guitar Hero house, because when you can get the whole set for $10 and have 3 different games, hey, let's go with that.
Decisions are made for you.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Arnie, what about you?
A Rock Band, easily. I played Guitar Hero a little bit. Like, I had friends who had it all the way on the PS2. I didn't get into. It was more that I wasn't like good. First of all, I was not good at it. Like I was not good as any of my friends at it. Couldn't play anything above like medium because the idea of having to use my like deformed pinky on like the 2 other buttons, I was like, no, fuck this.
It does have an easy mode. Does have easy.
Yeah, well, that's what I definitely played on easy. And then around, it must have been like 2009, like when I was a senior in high school, I ended up getting Rock Band 2. So I got it late. I didn't get it like when it was coming out and stuff, but I bought Rock Band 2 and I remember really enjoying it. A, because I could play bass, which has always been my favorite instrument. And B, because it was more cooperative. Like I could get in a group with my friends and like actually play songs together. And there was a microphone, so like whoever didn't want to play would just like, here, take this and just start, stay on pitch, basically. Don't fuck this up for us.
Now, if you were into a rock band, did you have people like fighting over certain instruments? Like, no, I get the drums this time, or did you have it all?
Yeah, I think the drums was the only one that we definitely had more than one person who's like, I want to play the drums. And for me, it was easy because I was like, I don't want to play the drums. The drums are very intimidating.
You're the number 1 draft pick for every Rock Band party.
I'm the bass guy. I was like, bass, I can play on expert. I never have to use more than like 4 fingers at a time. Like, it's great. I love my bass. I bought the set and then I bought a separate bass that was shaped like a bass, and it had like the thing you hit with your fingers, the pick area, was split in 2, so you could finger it like an actual bass.
Yeah.
It was really dope. Yeah.
Yep.
Damn, dude, that's so surprising. I know a total of, well, now 1, but before you, 0 people who actually sought out the bass.
Oh, best part.
Like I'm not even joking, man. You're number 1 draft pick because the person who played bass was always kind of like, because you saw the bass tracks in Rock Band, they were always like a little bit too simple and just kind of like and kind of repetitive. Yeah. And so I remember
if you're playing anything below like whatever the highest tier of song is, it's like three things like over and over again. But that sort of left room for me to be the guy who's like actually acting like they know what they're doing. Like I could move around, I could like fuck with people, I could turn around and point people and shit.
Right, because everyone else is concentrating.
Because everybody else is like, "Oh fuck, what do I do?" And I'm like, "I got 3 notes to play, bitch." Like, that's pretty. And then when the guitar solo hits and I don't even have to do anything, thank God! Now I'm free to express myself for real.
Once in a while, there's a bass track too. It's track dependent, and once in a while there'll be a track that has like just killer bass lines. Like if you're gonna play a Rush song, or like certain Beatles tunes, and you're just like, like that's when you can kind of flex and go. Yeah,
the only part that the only time I was really ever jealous of somebody else was those like songs where you got to do like a drum fill, like a freestyled sort of drum part. Those are the parts where I was like, fuck, I wish I was playing the drums right
now. Well, to round it out, I was definitely a Rock Band person. I didn't even get into Guitar Hero until late in its kind of like life cycle, which isn't that long. Like it got released in 2006 or 2005. I have a podcast and
I'm going to assume that that's not the first time you've used that as a defense of whatever you're saying.
It's not. Okay. I say it all the time. When I mess up at work, I'll tell a pilot to do something wrong, and I'm like, sorry, I have a podcast. Anyway, of all the things I wrote here, I didn't actually write the year that Guitar Hero was released, but thankfully I'll have a break so I can look it up. In any case, the life cycle, not that much before Rock Band came out. We're talking a couple of years. Yeah. So I had friends who had it and were really good at it, and they'd invite me over to play. And so we've already kind of got a couple strikes against it. One is that I don't mind playing games where other people are way better than me, but at the same time, it's not exactly inspiring me. You know what I mean? It's always, I find anyway, it's more fun when everybody's kind of starting off on the same foot and we're learning together. Yeah. You know what I mean? And we're all kind of getting better together. So when you show up at someone's house and they're doing crazy tracks on hard, and I'm just like, how do I hold this thing? You know, it's a little bit, it's like, it's fun, but it could be better. And the other thing I found too with Guitar Hero, and this extended into Rock Band, was that I just didn't really lean into the whole, like, I'm a rock god, I'm holding it felt like a plastic toy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At least to me. And I feel bad saying that because it really is kind of like a fantasy fulfiller, holding that thing and playing the guitar. It's a brilliant design, but I just couldn't get past the fact that I wasn't playing an actual guitar.
Yeah.
So, you know, Rock Band comes out a couple of years later. It's got a drum set, and the drum set is a fairly legitimate approximation of what an actual drum set is, right? Mm-hmm. Relative to the guitar. Like, you know, it's still super, super simple. But at least I felt with Rock Band, when I'm playing the drums, I felt like I was eventually, possibly, should I want to, even though I never did, able to translate those skills to actually playing drums.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, and that was never going to happen. But nonetheless, at least it felt that way. It felt more legitimate. So...
Yeah. Well, because the thing is that when you look at a drum set, right, even though it's a fair approximation of like maybe an electronic drum set, like like one of those electric drum sets, but like you have your snare, you have your bass drum, you have like all, and even in Guitar Hero, they eventually added like cymbals as well on World Tour, whereas a guitar has like 27 million frets and 6 to 8 strings or whatever, and the Guitar Hero controller has like 5 buttons. Like, it doesn't in any sense feel the same or look the same or try to even be the same. Whereas the drums, I feel like, yes, you hit drums, you hit this. It's a 1-to-1 motion.
Yeah, exactly. And Rock Band, honestly, was just kind of more fun, like, for a bunch of people, right? We had our band, and we'd get together and we'd play it like every Friday night or something along those lines. And we'd switch up instruments. Whoever had the bass was, you know, kind of the, but we really needed Arnie, goddamn. But yeah, there were obviously fights over the drums. Like, we had to kind of take turns and be adults about it. I remember one buddy. So that original Rock Band kit, the drums, I don't know if you guys remember, but the drums were actually pretty fickle. There were a lot of, it was like the peripheral equivalent of the Red Ring of Death on the 360. Those drums were not good, that first set.
The first set was rough.
And I remember inviting a bunch of people over, and I had one buddy in particular who sat down at the drums and wasn't really even trying to follow along. He just had this gigantic smile on his face, and he was beating the drums in a manner akin to, like, if I put a 3-year-old in front of like a Fisher-Price drum set.
Nice.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's just hitting it like at the same time, the same ones over and over. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, God, you look so happy. I'm so glad that you're enjoying yourself in my home. Also, can you please stop fucking doing that? Because these drums are not, you know, they're not made to take these beatings these childlike swings that you're hitting these things with.
Herein lies the issue with Rock Band, is that if one person loses, everyone loses. And there's nothing that'll suck the joy out of a beautiful night of Rock Band than having to play the same goddamn song over and over again.
This is true. Yeah. But I mean, the easy mode was pretty forgiving.
Yes.
I think just about anyone could pass it on easy mode. And even in Rock Band 2, then they threw in the no fail mode, which I guess, I don't know, that's not really my thing. But
some people were very, very against no fail mode. They were like, no, I got it. This time, I swear, I'm going to make it. We're going to be fine. Guess what? You weren't fucking fine.
I just love how Paul is already laughing. He's like, I'm not really into that, because like we know Paul is just like no fail mode. Well, how about I just give you a no fail life? How about I don't give you any consequences? How about that? You know, like, won't that just be great? I'm like, you can't. I love
Paul's
how
just
it gets
opening up his
your...
like closet full of participation trophies for everyone that chooses no fail mode.
That's exactly how I operate.
I love it. I love how it gets under your skin. It's so good. It's like,
well, that's the other thing too, is that like you better not go into any of these games like wanting to hear songs. Like the object here is not to listen to the song, and they make it very clear because if you fuck up a note, you're gonna hear that shit.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be like, oh damn, this is so cool. Dang, 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 and you're like, oh fuck, man, like, god damn it.
Yeah.
I just want to listen to CCR just one time.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty interesting division. I 3-1 there for Rock Band. I think that's more or less indicative of what we would expect. I think if I kind of just like asked a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
But I think a pretty good place to start here. Like the intent of this episode is really to just kind of answer the question: what the hell happened to these games? Because they fell off a cliff. We all know that.
Yeah.
But I think it is a good idea to fill up some background info here so we have a foundation on which to answer these important questions. So we'll start off with Harmonix. I think that's the way to go here. Harmonix is the developer of both Guitar Hero and subsequently Rock Band. And the story actually just kind of starts with them. Founded in 1995 by Alex Rogopoulos and Aaron Agozi, they're really kind of the two big names that are associated with the whole thing. They both met at MIT and they worked together on an algorithm that could generate music. If this sounds like a terrible idea, yeah, 1995 algorithms not really capable of doing that kind of thing, but it did kind of set the table for them. They started their own company with the premise that performing music could be accessible to those who have trouble actually learning an instrument. Now, we could also call those people lazy if we want. I'm not.
Are you? Are you though?
That's a good question. Does anybody here actually play an instrument?
Does the recorder count?
Yes. I mean, not very seriously, but not professionally and not seriously, but I played instruments in bands before, yes.
Okay. All right. This is going to be an interesting perspective.
I was always on vocals.
Looking forward to it.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's an instrument too.
I played the bass for like 2 months of my life.
There you go.
If that counts.
Were you like good at it?
I was fucking the Eric Clapton of people who didn't know how to play bass.
Nice.
Oh.
To answer your question, the simple no. I just didn't have. Maybe I had the talent for it. I don't know, but I certainly didn't have the work ethic for it.
Yeah.
Growing up, I mean, if I really wanted to now, now I know how to kind of buckle down, and if I want to get something done, I'll get it done. But musical instrument is not one of those things, sadly. If I really wanted to be successful with any kind of musical endeavor, what I'd actually do is become a DJ. Because I could just sit down for 2 months and then figure it all out.
Well, Activision has a game for you, my friend.
Hey, I still got a copy of that one too.
It's called DJ Hero, baby.
I've got that one.
I want nothing to do with anything DJ related. So anyway, back to Harmonix. Their first project as the company, Harmonix, after they founded it, was a program called the Axe. And the Axe was a music making simulator where the user picks an instrument and they use a joystick to kind of control the instrument over a backing track. So the user selects pitch, tone, speed, and the AI produces these kind of AI generated solos. Now, I don't know if you guys saw the accompanying video for the Axe. Gotta say, sounds awful.
It sounds terrible. I was like, what the hell is this?
I'm gonna use it to soundtrack my wedding.
It sounds like the worst. Like it sounds like, you know, the composer from Awesome Possum just like went to town. That's what it sounds like. It's that same sort of Genesis MIDI era kind of synthetic, like just riffing on. And so it's, you know, impressive from a technical perspective. It's very cool, but you know, it's so hard. It's impossible to take seriously.
I know it is. Like,
I think I could get better sound from throwing a theremin across the room.
Probably. I'd agree with that.
But this is borderline like Sound Blaster 16 era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So their range was limited. Like they gave it a shot. It's a cool idea, but I don't think the tech was quite there yet. But after the Axe, a couple misses there. I think the Axe sold literally like hundreds of copies is what they say it sold. But so we can call that one a miss. They eventually did, Harmonix that is, come to the realization that games like Parappa, Beatmania, and just kind of karaoke in general were so much fun. And it wasn't because the participants were necessarily creating their own music, but because they were accurately replicating their favorite music and doing so through very simple interfaces. And they kind of figured out, okay, this is where the fun actually is. Nobody wants to create, their music that is like non-music and sounds terrible. They just want to kind of, jam to songs that they already love. And that's where it is. In chat, Chris is in capital letters saying guitar freaks. Yes, Chris, you are the guy who played the Japanese only game. Thank you very much for your contribution. Retro Hangover Podcast, everybody. Chris. Hey! So I think here we'll take a little break, and when we come back, we'll actually get into some of Harmonix's early offerings and then their partnership with Red Octane for Guitar Hero.
Hey little sister shotgun, oh yeah. Hey little sister, who's your Superman? Hey little sister shotgun, it's a nice day to start again. It's a nice day for a white wedding. It's a nice day to start again.
All right, everyone, we're back. So, the first few Harmonix releases, we're going to start with Frequency. That was their very first one. Started development in 1999 and then released in 2001 for the PlayStation 2. Sony actually allowed Harmonix to keep the IP as part of the contract so that I guess it would be easier then for Harmonix to make future releases, more easily future develop the game. They were able to retain all the code instead of signing it over to Sony. Frequency, I would say it's not a very pretty game. And although it actually is fun, it's actually a pretty difficult game for them to market at the time. Because you've got the back of the box, you've got this kind of 3D musical note track similar to Guitar Hero and Rock Band. But over the track, you have this kind of like spaceship looking thing, and it's hitting the notes, and there's never been anything like it before. And how the hell do you sell this to people? So not the biggest hit at the time, followed by Amplitude, the sequel to Frequency. Now, Amplitude, that's the one that I played personally. I never actually played Frequency. And the reason is because Amplitude actually came with I'm just going to go out and say a proper soundtrack. Frequency had a lot of kind of niche techno dance club kind of stuff, whereas Amplitude had some of that, but it also had some more mainstream stuff like Garbage and so on and so forth. So I played Amplitude. I really enjoyed it. Have any of you guys played these two? Mike?
Yeah, I actually played Amplitude. I didn't play Frequency. Amplitude was one of the first games I saw on PS2 that actually get connected online and you could play against other players, and that kind of, at the time, that blew my mind. Not because computers have been doing that for a while, and I played Tribes and stuff like that, but seeing it on a PS2, like I remember that really blew my mind. I remember it being really cool and kind of flashy and colorful, and the songs were neat, but it didn't really super stick with me. I think it was still kind of missing a little bit of personality and charm, and maybe even characters that stuff like Parappa had and things like that. But I played Amplitude. It's tough. They kind of both blend together. They're kind of hard to tell apart, to be honest. I get their footage mixed up, honestly, sometimes when I look at them.
Dude, I can spot Frequency from a mile away because it's like somebody's ugly child that just does not does not look good, man. The interface is like, ugh. It's like PS1 era, kind of like just not very good looking. Amplitude looks a lot more smooth, a lot easier on the eyes, at least in my opinion, anyway. Mm-hmm. Kelly, did you play either of these? Arnie?
I personally have not played either of these. I remember seeing the boxes for both of them in stores all the time and being like, "What the hell is this game? It looks so bland." The box art was just, I don't know who their marketing was, but it was just like, I don't know who's going to buy these games. I remember seeing them on sale for like $4.99 at all times. And then years later, when I started dating my now husband, he had a copy of both of them, and even then was playing them on the regular. He'd have one of his friends over, and they would just sit there and like mix tracks and play it for hours. So they were huge fans of both of those games.
Cool.
Arnie?
I did not know either of these games existed until probably like 5 years ago when I bought Frequency at like a flea market. And my whole thing with it was, because I've seen video of Amplitude and Frequency, and it kind of, I'm so glad that you described it the way you did, Paul, because my contribution was going to be, it's very difficult to describe what it actually is. Like, if I was going to tell somebody, oh, you should definitely play Frequency, and they were like, what's it like? I'd be like, you just gotta play it. Like, there's not a thing that I can tell you that it's like. But yeah, I just, for me, Harmonix was born with Guitar Hero and Rock Band. Like,
yeah, it's the way you describe Frequency now is it's Guitar Hero with a controller.
Yeah.
And club music, right? Like, that's how you describe it now.
That's what it looks like.
You do DDR with your fingers.
There you go.
God, that sounds awful. Oh my God. Did you guys experience that thing, now that we're on the topic of Frequency and Amplitude?
Yeah.
Did you guys, because I noticed this for the first time after playing those games, and then of course it happened subsequently with Guitar Hero and Rock Band, where you're playing and of course you're staring intently, right? Because you have to keep your eye on the notes. You can't look away from the screen. And then you look at your wall, and your wall's like moving downwards.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I've not experienced that. And I don't really want to, honestly. That sounds scary. That sounds like your own personal treehouse of horror.
It is kind of in a way, yeah. I remember seeing that for the first time and being like, wow, this is pretty trippy. I wonder
this is your brain on Amplitude.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
They're definitely the kind of games, because of the rhythm and because of the repetition, they're the kind of games that you start dreaming about or thinking about and seeing everywhere if you play it too much.
God.
Yeah, absolutely. I have those every once in a while. Like a game where I either can't sleep because of it, or like I'm just dreaming it all the time and it wakes me up. And it's only happened like 3 times with, I think, 3 different games, but four games I can think of. It's awful. I have to actually stop playing the game.
Etrian Odyssey 1, Etrian Odyssey 2.
I was going to say Tetris Effect. I was going to say, that sounds like Tetris Effect, man.
All right, I have to list them now because
Paul finds a hedge maze and he's like, oh shit, I've been preparing for this my whole life.
That's true.
For me, it's the OG, the Ultima 7 for PC. Way back when I was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Ultima 7, I was like, it just kept me up at night. Ultima 7, Tribes, because I mean, obviously, right? I was playing Tribes like
Tribes
5 hours a day.
Clicking away in your sleep.
So good. Tribes is so good, dude.
Clicking away makes it sound like I'm playing Diablo. No, I was playing something much, much better.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Slay the Spire. Arnie can attest to this. Yeah. And subsequently Monster Train, which is like Slay the Spire, but different. Those kind of games for whatever reason. Yeah, it's Slay the Spire on a train. Anyway, back on target here. After Frequency and Amplitude, we've got Karaoke Revolution and Antigrav. Antigrav we mentioned on our motion controls episode. That was a PSI toy game. And it actually, funnily enough, sold 4 times better than their best reviewed music game, Amplitude. It actually kind of led to this situation at Harmonix where they're like, well, we're called Harmonix. Do we just not make music games anymore? This doesn't seem like the way to go, because they make Antigrav and it's a big seller.
Listen, I own that game. It is hot garbage. But there are certain things in life that are universal, Paul. And
yes.
One of them, probably one of the top 3 things is people's want of a real hoverboard. So if you put a hoverboard in almost anything, people will be like, I gotta buy that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Also, the iToy, I don't think the iToy was probably hurting for games that people were like excited about. True. And this definitely, at least even if you're not confident, you're like, please just give me something for the iToy. You know, like I could see why people, not to discount if it's fun or not. I haven't played it, but I feel like that would be a big selling point.
Would you like to play it, Mike? Would you like to come over and I could set up the iToy for us?
Hell yeah.
No.
Hell yeah.
Open up a nice bottle of wine and just play that soccer game over and over again.
Do you have a Kinect too, Arnie, or is Kelly the only one of us?
I don't own a Kinect.
Oh.
No, I refuse to let that thing spy on me. That's why that's what I have a Google Home for.
In a phone and everything else, the webcam that you're using.
This is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
At the Microsoft Kinect. No, I was just wondering whose house I was going to dance to Han Solo at.
Really
come on over, we'll set it up.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to stream that one day. I swear to God. The day is not far away. I'm waiting for the Series X. Once I have the Series X, we're going to start dancing. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, again, back on target. So Karaoke Revolution, Antigrav, Harmonix is having sort of a crisis of faith here, so to speak, in their product. And now we enter with Red Octane. Red Octane is the company that Harmonix would eventually partner with to start Guitar Hero, but it is worth talking about Red Octane's history a little bit as well. It's also actually pretty interesting.
A company that I know makes video games because it's 2 random words.
Yeah, I know, right? Not only that, but 2 random words put together, no space between. Then the second word is capitalized, and that's what makes it look cool, right?
Camel casing. Good old camel casing.
So Red Octane, founded in 1999, they actually founded themselves as a game rental business similar to Gamefly, and Netflix, who we all tend to forget, Netflix was a mail order
they still do.
Movie place.
They still do?
Are you serious? They still do?
They have a whole Twitter account dedicated to like that end of the business, I believe.
Wow.
People use it?
Yeah.
Why?
Interesting.
Think of the oldest person you know, and imagine them trying to like even navigate the simplest Netflix interface.
Yeah, red boxes are still
you're 100% correct.
Now imagine them like being on Netflix for 1 minute and not getting immediately like sensory overwhelmed by all the trailers that play automatically and like throwing their TV out the window.
No, you're absolutely right. I work with a guy who, you know what the telltale sign is for that exact archetype of person? It's the person who uses their cell phone and types with their index finger. As soon as you see someone typing with their index finger on their phone, it's like, oh boy, this is the person who orders mail from, the mail ordered videos from Netflix.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. That's what it is. The other day, my elderly coworker asked me, he's like, man, I can't find this number for this business in the phone book.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, you darling man.
Honey.
Phone books. Oh man.
I thought those were only for tearing in half.
Yeah, it's true.
I thought the government sent you those to practice on.
It's not pre-ripped.
Yeah. You should see the zeal too with which he looks things up on his in the phone book, because we have a phone book at work, obviously.
Yeah.
And when he pulls that thing out, he's just so happy to be giving like a middle finger to technology. I still got my phone book. Except because
he feels like CSI, like he feels like it's like, okay, there's and the music's the montage is playing in his head, and it's like you see like the close up of all the names, and he's like, there it is.
Yeah, you gotta aggressively point at the phone book too.
Yep.
I see your CSI and I raise you a Matlock.
Yeah,
I think that's actually I think that's the dream. That's
Wow.
deep cut.
Yeah, I know. Now I got the Matlock theme song stuck in my head. Like, come on.
Which, by the way, is such a meandering,
I know.
kind of theme song.
God.
I can't imagine the person who's listened to like however fucking many episodes we've done and they've been like, wow, I never thought they'd get to Matlock. This fucking breakdown of the Matlock intro music. There's one guy who's like pumping his fist right now. So
This is what happens when the two oldest people, I think, are together on this. This is just what's gonna happen, I think, unfortunately.
Oh my goodness.
Red Octane.
Anyway, Red Octane. Red
yeah.
Octane, yeah. So, similar to GameFly and Netflix, after the .com bubble burst, if you guys remember, circa 2000, they shifted their business to a niche not yet filled, dance mats and accessories for people who imported Dance Dance Revolution to play on their modified PlayStations. Like, this is... This, I kid you not, like, this is the nichiest niche that
This
ever
was
niched.
me.
Like, it was
me.
That was you.
Yeah! Hell yes!
But think of all the stars that have to align for this business to take off, right? Like, no, you'd never had access to modified systems the way we did when the PlayStation era and to a lesser extent the Saturn came around, right? Suddenly you have this whole library of illegally obtained, let's not kid ourselves, Japanese games. Wait, no. Kelly, did you have originals or did you have copies?
I had originals.
I knew it!
Oh, so cool.
too.
So cool. So
I had
cool.
DDR 3 and 4. So,
And the dance mats.
Yes.
Now, do you remember
Awesome.
if you bought Red Octane branded dance mats?
I don't, but I definitely bought the cheap American version, so I'm guessing it's gotta be.
I've got my money squarely on Mad Cats. That's fucking...
Nah, man, this was too niche even for Mad
I'm pulling
Cats. Are
the
you
fucking
kidding me?
parlay on this one.
But, I mean, they broke every month, so you were buying a shit ton of these dance mats.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
Now they sell the like real fucking DDR shit. Like now they sell like consumer grade, like the metal big fucking thing with the bar and everything.
Dude, I wish I had room for that. They must fold, right? Like the bar kind of folds down and that way you can put it, behind your bookshelf or something.
No,
it
you
seems
hang
like a
laundry on
product that's designed to like be as unwieldy as possible.
Yeah.
Why am I giving away these ideas? What am I doing here? This show, we release it every 2 weeks, and there are $1 billion ideas on every single episode. We're a bunch of idiots, man.
Foldable metal DDR mats.
Well, done. I can retire in like 2 days. Anyhow.
Oh my god.
So that's the niche that Red Octane was filling. Dance mats, accessories for people who imported DDR. Amazing.
Really cool.
Now, to be fair, after realizing that their business model would kind of live and die based on whether Konami would actually continue to publish a DDR, they're kind of tying their cart to that horse. And if the horse ain't running anymore. So they shifted again, and this time they actually shifted their business model to publishing. Their first published game was called In the Groove, a DDR clone from the arcades that, of course, inevitably led to a lawsuit from Konami. And Konami actually ended up acquiring the In the Groove property in the settlement. So
that's right.
Not the most successful start there for Red Octane, but it did make them a little bit of money. And from there, they decided that their next music game should include a guitar or drum peripheral, like the Japanese Guitar Freaks or Drum Mania series.
Where's the Martin Scorsese 3-hour Red Octane movie? Like this is like Wolf of Wall Street for nerds.
It really is. It really is, dude. And like, spoiler alert, when they get bought out by Activision, like this is a beautiful 3-act Scorsese epic. You're absolutely right. Because it's I don't know if it has a happy ending. In fact, it doesn't. Again, spoiler, but please continue listening to the show.
Yeah. The Red Octane founder just doing bumps of coke off the like DDR mat. Like, this was my dream.
It used to be about the music, man.
Oh, there we go. So, once they figured out, all right, we need to make something sort of like Guitar Freaks. We think this is kind of the way of the future. That's when they pick up the phone and they call Harmonix, who they had met previously at various trade shows. They had talked to Harmonix, say, yeah, we should get together sometime, and just kind of never did because it's not easy to find the correct project to work on, right?
Yeah.
But that's where we are. We have Antigrav, Karaoke Revolution. Harmonix is like, we really should make like kind of a guitar-based game. And they're in Boston and across the USA and California. Red Octane's like, man, we really need to publish a guitar game. So yeah, Red Octane picks up the phone, they call Harmonix, and they're like, oh, I was thinking the exact same thing. Wow, we should totally do that. And then they did. So, Guitar Hero, released 2005. I looked this up during the break, everyone. doing the good work.
Due diligence.
So, gotta say, with regards to Guitar Hero, terrible idea on paper. And they knew this. They knew this at the time, right? On paper, you've got, all right, we're going to release a music game. Are music games successful? No. Emphatic no. Amplitude sold, I think, like 100,000 copies, or maybe it was 100,000 between both Frequency and Amplitude. Yeah, like not horrible, not the Axe with its hundreds of copies, but still not exactly a hit. And then you've got, okay, we're going to release a game with a giant peripheral. What do we have to look at that has giant peripherals? Maybe not giant, but light gun games, et cetera, et cetera. Or like the Sega Bass Fishing. Now, I know some people live and die with Sega Bass Fishing, but that said, not the most successful game, right?
The Samba de Amigo Maracas.
Samba de Amigo Maracas.
You said the magic words.
Yes.
And Anthony appears.
Exactly.
So terrible idea on paper, but Alex Rogopoulos, he goes to his board of directors and he's like, look, guys, here are all the, and he prepares a presentation and he's like, here are all the reasons we shouldn't do it. And he goes over all the reasons that I just listed. And his board of directors is like, so what exactly are we doing here? And Alex says, you know what? I know we shouldn't, but it just feels right. And I think we should. And the board of directors was like, all right, let's do it. We're betting the farm on this.
Yeah. That's the scene in the trailer. That's the trailer right there.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In a world.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why are we doing this? Because it just feels right, blah. Harmonix.
Coming this holiday season.
I like that. Sorry. I was going to say that in your notes, I do think it's cool to bring up about the retailer space, because I think that is also kind of an important note, is the idea that like this stuff takes up, and Kelly can probably speak to this, how much room this stuff takes up, on a retail show floor and also in the back in storage and things. And retailers are really hesitant to kind of jump on that bandwagon if they don't think it's something that's going to sell, because that's a lot of floor space that they can fill up with something that is going to sell instead, that, is going to be easier to move and easier to shelf and all this stuff. So it's kind of it's a cool point. I'm glad you wrote down.
Yeah, no. And thank you for bringing that up, because you're right. It is an interesting point. And I can tell you, Best Buy actually was the only retailer at first that picked up Guitar Hero.
Really?
And yep, the only one. So Red Octane went to all the different retailers, GameStop, et cetera, and having worked this is a long time ago, obviously, but having worked at EB Games, the size of that store, I can totally understand why a smaller, a place with smaller retail space like an EB Games would be like, no thanks.
Yeah.
Like this just takes up too much room. It's like a giant box, got a plastic guitar. It's $20 more expensive than
little did they know they would
there.
Shortly have an entire wall full of Funko Pops.
I know, right? Jeez, how times have changed.
Yeah.
So Best Buy, actually the only place that actually ended up buying Guitar Hero. It was, I can't remember her name, but there was a specific buyer for the peripherals division at Best Buy. They had a software buyer and a peripherals buyer. And the software buyer, he was like, no thanks, we're not doing this. And the peripherals buyer, she was fairly young, fairly inexperienced, but she played the demo. And this is the thing with Guitar Hero, is that
it's the demo.
You play the demo and then you want Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork. Everybody picks it up, plays the demo, and they're like, oh, frig, I need this, right? So that's what happened with her. And I wish I could remember her name, but she played the demo and she's like, look, we're going to buy this. You know, we're going to buy 2,000 units, I think is what the number was. Once they demoed it on the floor, they pre-ordered those 2,000 units in like less than a week. And then they went to Harmonix and Red Octane specifically, because Red Octane's the publisher. And they're like, yeah, we need 5,000 more. And Red Octane was like, excuse me? we're not Sony. Like, we can't just manufacture this stuff out of thin air.
Right.
But they had it. Like, they had a hit on their hands. And so they went into this weird kind of cycle of borrowing money. Like, the Red Octane owners mortgaged their houses that they lived in.
Wow.
In order to be able to fund the production and manufacturing of all these plastic guitars that they were getting shipped over from China, right? I can't remember the dude's name off the top of my head, but one of the founders of Red Octane, his wife is like, "You're doing what?"
I was just about to say, their partners must have been fucking thrilled.
Yeah, I know, right? But I mean, you know, it was a good bet.
Yeah.
He was, you know, he tells his wife,
in
he's
hindsight,
like,
sure.
Sure, yeah. But when your husband comes to you and he's like, don't worry, I got this.
Listen, the future is plastic guitars. Oh, fuck, my mother was right. God damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, they mortgaged their houses. So they had this weird cycle of borrowing money, getting the stuff manufactured, having the stuff shipped, selling out immediately. Because once this became a hit at Best Buy, then they had GameStop knocking at their door. They had all the other retailers, Toys R Us, you know, all these other retailers were just like banging on their door. Yo, we need more. We need more. We need more. Yeah. But they don't get paid necessarily immediately, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like a 2 to 3 month period where you find 0 copies of Guitar Hero. People are going crazy clamoring for it because it's this new thing.
It just makes it a bigger thing. Yeah, it's like,
exactly.
Oh shit, I can't find it anywhere. Oh, I really want it now.
Yes, exactly. Which is what we see now all the time, right? Like, I don't know, man. It feels to me like the TSN turning point for this was the Nintendo Wii, because you couldn't find the goddamn Wii anywhere, and it just made people want that goddamn Wii even more. And I think we still have that playbook being used today. Unless I'm sure Sony would sell more PS5s and Microsoft would sell more Xbox Series X's. It fucking rolls off the tongue. if they could. Yeah. But this forced scarcity, I think, is actually kind of working in their favor in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, but you see it all the time, right? Everybody remembers the like Tickle Me Elmo riots of like 98 or whatever it was.
Oh my god, yeah.
Furbies, I think, were also one that like everybody wanted.
The Cabbage Patch Kid Wars. Yeah.
Everybody lost an uncle in the Cabbage Patch Kids Wars.
Yeah. Dude, we talk about World War III. It's already happened.
Yeah, in the toy stores.
Okay, this is it's already done. It's over.
The day the Nintendo Classic Edition came out is a day that will live in infamy.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that NES Classic, man. I lined up for that thing, and you know what? That was actually a fun morning because I don't live in a big city.
Yeah.
We just kind of hung out outside the store and we were chatting, and then we got in. We got our NES Classics.
You were just filming a scene from Clerks 3. Like, it was you and like how many other people? Like.
Yeah, like 10.
I think
10 people outside the store.
Nintendo has this down to a science, because all the amiibos, same thing. Yep. I can remember for certain amiibos standing outside the store.
God, the Wii Fit Trainer amiibo debacle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, are you serious?
My kingdom for a Wii Fit Trainer amiibo, Paul.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fascinating, and a different episode, perhaps. As far as Guitar Hero is concerned, this is kind of the cycle, right? Like, Red Octane gets paid, they take that money, they manufacture more plastic guitars, the guitars get shipped over, and this forced scarcity really just kind of turns it into more and more of a phenomenon.
Meanwhile, this guy's getting like final notices on his mortgage payment, like, and he's like, I need to buy more plastic guitars.
Yeah, pretty much, right? So as far as the game itself, developed only in 9 months, and the reason it was developed so quickly, I know, right? But it used a lot of assets and code from Karaoke Revolution and Amplitude, right?
Yeah.
All those, like, that 3D kind of track moving forwards towards you, all that stuff is cribbed from Amplitude. They already had the code. They just had to turn it into Guitar Hero.
Yeah, they made it look nicer.
They certainly made it look nicer. Like, almost everyone at Harmonix was actually in a band at some point, and they really used that experience both to create the art assets, to kind of like create that band feel, and also just to, like, you know, the track list, all that kind of stuff. Even some of the artists they hired, like one thing I found out, which was ridiculous, Shepard Fairey, the guy who designed that Obama Hope poster, he actually created some gig posters for the game, which, I don't know, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Him and the lead artist at Harmonix went to the same school. So the lead artist at Harmonix was like, hey buddy, how about you do this? Cool. So anyway, that's Guitar Hero in a nutshell, I'd say. Eventually they released Guitar Hero 2. At this point, however, for Guitar Hero 2, they've been bought out by Activision. And then Activision is now able to start kind of pouring in more financial assets to get more people these plastic guitars that they crave so badly.
To saturate the market, perhaps?
Yeah, which is something we're going to get to as well. But before we do that, we'll take another quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Rock Band, and we'll talk about why these games have fallen off.
Remember that loving is what I got. I remember that loving is what I got. I said remember that loving is what I got.
Okay, we're back, and now it's time for Rock Band itself. Harmonix, in partnership with MTV Networks Viacom, releasing Rock Band November 2007. So a little bit of background here. Again, MTV Networks, Viacom, they actually purchased Harmonix, the developer, in September of 2006. This was just months after Activision bought Red Octane, which did catch Harmonix off guard. Basically, we're in a situation where we've got a small publisher, Red Octane, we've got a small developer, Harmonix. Neither of them by themselves or together have the resources to really pump out the plastic guitars that are needed to kind of like eventually reach the $1 billion in sales.
Yeah, this is about the 58-minute mark in the Scorsese film.
I'd say, yeah, this, you know what, you're right, because Act 2 is always the, ooh, things are starting to go wrong. Right? Yeah, absolutely. So this is definitely that point. Look, the fact is they don't have the resources by themselves to pump out the plastic guitars. Activision does, Viacom/MTV Networks do, and they each buy Harmonix and Red Octane respectively. Yeah. So at least as far as Harmonix is concerned, MTV Networks actually kind of the preferred publisher.
Yeah.
Even though they're not a traditional video game publisher, they are MTV, and so they're able to kind of lend their weight to getting bands, getting tracks. Yeah. And so
2007, they hadn't completed the transformation into just reality television.
I was
playing ridiculousness for 25 hours a day.
12 hours a day.
Yeah, I was going to make the joke. I was going to say they were still actually music television a little bit at this point.
A little bit. Yeah, exactly.
I think TRL was like still on the air in 2007.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Carson Daly's still fucking every day. trying to one step closer to the grave as he stares in the camera blankly.
So Rock Band itself, actually, the kind of the culmination, really, of Harmonix's vision, because they'd always wanted to move to multiple instruments for Guitar Hero. It's just that, again, they don't have the resources to be able to do that until the big corporations step in. Thank goodness we have big corporations to rescue us from time to time.
It's true. They are our friends.
Yes, absolutely. So Rock Band itself sold 4 million units, made 600 million in revenue.
Unreal.
Unbelievable, right? Because even in spite of the success of Guitar Hero, the Guitar Hero box, while large relative to other video games and slightly more expensive than other video games, we're talking $20 more, right? Like your average video game at that time is $49.99 USD, so like $200 Canadian roughly. And Guitar Hero, only $69.99, comes with a big guitar, right? Yep. It's not a giant leap. And then they released Rock Band, which is in this gigantic box. Enormous, like 20 times bigger than the actual Guitar Hero box. I'm not even fucking exaggerating. That thing was huge. And it was 200, well, actually, sorry, I'm going in Canadian dollars now. I remember it being 200 Canadian.
Yeah.
So
still like, you guys remember $170?
Probably 169.
I'm gonna say 169 seems like the price point.
I'm trying to, in my mind's eye, I'm trying to picture, because I know where I bought my Rock Band 2 set, and it was in a GameStop in a mall, and I was like, how did we get from the GameStop to the car with this, like the size of like what I would guess a medium-sized television box?
Yeah, no, it's gigantic. I had to thankfully, when I bought my Rock Band 2 set, because my Rock Band 1 drum set eventually just kind of failed.
Yeah.
It was pretty awful. This was a problem endemic to a lot of Rock Band 1 drum sets, unfortunately. But the Rock Band 2 ones were way more solid. So I actually shelled out another $200 for basically the drum set and the extra guitar. Yep. I was such a mark. Oh my God. But thankfully, my EB Games was actually in the same building where I lived. I lived in an apartment building that was over a mall. But yeah, it also had the EB Games. So I literally just kind of grabbed the box and hugged it and walked, 100 feet to the elevator.
Just waddling
and brought it up to
himself
my
over
to... Yeah, exactly. No, that thing was massive. So even still, they have the success of Guitar Hero, but even still, this is a big gamble, man. Mm-hmm. This thing is expensive and it's huge. The retailers were okay with it. They had seen Guitar Hero. It's like, all right, we've kind of got a pedigree here. So the retailers, they buy it up, and lo and behold, even though it is a bit of a risk, hugely successful. Like I said, 4 million units, 600 million in revenue. Meanwhile, across the aisle, we've got Guitar Hero 3. Guitar Hero 3, I kid you not, $1 billion in sales. It's
God. Well, and that should tell
absolutely
you
insane.
I can't, this number seems so ridiculous to me, because in terms of units to revenue, that tells you how expensive this thing was, because 4 million units to equate to $600 million, not the math is there. I'm glad you brought up Guitar Hero 3, Paul, because I've been meaning to ask you guys this. And I want to know specifically your experience, because I remember that around this time, when Guitar Hero 3 comes out, when Rock Band comes out, there was sort of an effect that it was having too, where it was actually making some bands popular. And obviously the obvious one here is Dragon Force, which I had no idea what the fuck, and everybody now knows what the fuck Dragon Force is. No idea.
It's a Sega Saturn game.
Yeah.
And what a game.
Perfect. God damn. And I just remember there was I must have been in junior year of high school, senior year of high school, somewhere around there. And everybody on their fucking computer watching that goddamn music video over and over and over and over again. I remember the controversy when they tried to play it live and they had a third guitarist so they could actually play the whole thing, because apparently it was super fucking complicated, and they were oh yeah, no, you can do it on one guitar, but it's like really hard. And people were like, what the fuck, he's not playing it on one guitar. It was like a whole fucking like cycle of my life where Dragon Force was like a thing that existed.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredible. That is a Through the Fire and Flame. That's a legendary track now from Guitar Hero.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just thousands of videos on YouTube of a guy doing it like behind my back, blindfolded, while eating nachos.
With his penis. Like, yeah. Absolutely.
I wanted to, you know what's funny is you're talking about the drum kits and talking about the one in Rock Band 2 being better. That reminded me that I bought the Rock Band 2 setup, and that was the one that I bought. The drums worked a lot better. But the thing is, it's funny because you reminded me, because you were saying, oh, and I had to buy that, and I bought another guitar. And I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, it only came with one guitar, but I know I had two. And I was like, what? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm an idiot, of course. I just used my Guitar Hero guitar. And that reminded me of how that was... Honestly, I don't think that should be discounted at all with people. That was such a huge... Can you imagine if the Guitar Hero guitar hadn't worked with Rock Band? Like, I think
I'm surprised. Honestly, I had no idea.
It still would have sold great. It still would have sold well, but I think it was a big part of people jumping on because they were like, oh, cool, it comes with one guitar? Oh, no big deal. I already have one. And I know it works with it, so I'll keep using the one I'm used to, and the person who's playing bass will use this one, or we can switch it up. We have a full band still. Yeah. Cool. Like I
had no idea that it worked. Like in hindsight, that seems like fucked up. That's like when you figure out that the Genesis controller plugs into the 2600 or whatever.
No, they made it really clear. Like they were really adamant. Like, hey, the guitars work with both of them. You're fine. And
this is a pivotal scene in the Scorsese movie.
It had to
like
be.
Some kid buys it, plugs in the Guitar Hero one, and he's like, oh shit.
It's cool too.
But this was this was a Sony Microsoft thing, by the way.
Right.
Like they didn't offer Activision and Viacom the option of having incompatible peripherals.
Okay.
Wow.
That makes
Sony and
sense.
Microsoft were like, you motherfuckers better make this compatible. We're not going to have this debacle happening.
That would have been a shit show.
And so they did. Yeah, exactly.
Would have been the Wii U all over again.
Yeah, and I mean, eventually you could have the... God bless the Wii U.
Yeah.
Eventually you could have because Guitar Hero World Tour, which released concurrently with Rock Band 2, had its own drum kit and so on.
Yep.
And you could use the World Tour kit with Rock Band and the Rock Band kit with World Tour and vice versa.
That's so fucked up.
Necessary.
That's just wrong. There's something just wrong about that inherently.
It's not. It's brilliant. It's not wrong.
No, it's 100% right. Are you nuts?
It's absolutely the right. It was absolutely the right call. Like, there's no way it was an afterthought. Like, I have to believe that both Red Octane and Harmonix, were, and it also kind of shows that maybe they were still on good terms. Like, it wasn't anything. And the division wasn't really, something on either of their minds. It was just like, hey, look, like, let's make sure we're still working kind of side by side on this, and, that everybody can play, as many people as possible can play both of our games,
Yeah.
And,
Red Octane and Harmonix, absolutely. Between the
Activision
developer and the former publisher. Activision and Viacom, not so much.
No, good point.
They had a deal. So Red Octane and Harmonix, they still chat, they still see each other at trade shows, no hard feelings, these things happen, right?
Yeah.
They both got bought out and they both made a ton of money in the process. How can you really fault each one for kind of doing that, right?
What a ride.
But Viacom and Activision, no. Activision had I can't remember the exact details, but they did have a deal fall through with Viacom some time ago. And Activision's stance on Viacom was, fuck Viacom.
Yeah.
And this is, we'll get into this in a little bit as to why these franchises failed.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there was no love lost between executives at Activision and Viacom.
Old school.
Again, this is like...
Yeah, old school executive bad blood going on.
Yeah,
just telling each other to go fuck themselves in the parking lot. Putting severed horse heads in each other's beds.
Anyhow, so that's Rock Band. After Rock Band, we've got a whole bunch of other releases. And this can be good or bad depending on how you look at it. We've got Rock Band 2. And Rock Band 2, everybody's waiting for it. Still a great idea. Released in September 2008 on the 360, October 2008 on the PS3. Even DLC that was compatible with the original Rock Band, still compatible with Rock Band 2.
Brilliant.
They made no mistakes there. They even had merchandise available. Like, I don't know if you guys remember this. I didn't remember this until I started reading about it.
I didn't remember this.
Yeah, but apparently you could take your in-game avatar that you've created and go to like an in-game photo booth and take pictures of your avatar with their band in like various locations, and then have that screened onto a t-shirt, and then you can buy the t-shirt with your band on it.
That's
and
a
you can
step
do the
too
same
far.
thing with
That's like begging people to physically assault me. No. Stop it.
I know, right? Nobody needs an excuse already to punch me in the face. Jesus Christ. And you could even buy figurines. Like, you could buy figures for like $70 US.
Damn.
Fuck, man?
of your in-game avatar. I know I'm saying,
What
right?
the
Like,
fuck?
I want to know how
I
many
do
of those
remember
they
the thing I
sold.
remember was
I wonder too.
the like online stuff where it was like people would name their bands and they do like competitions and shit like that. I remember that kind of stuff, which I was already like, wow, this is we're fast approaching a cliff.
Yeah, no, we are. And let me tell you, do you guys remember your band names? I remember mine. I loved my band name. You guys remember? No?
No.
I remember
one.
mine, yeah. Because I use it all the time whenever I can name something a group. AKA Persona or a JRPG, but go on.
No, you go on. What's your band name?
So my band name, my band name is Dude or Dude and the Cool Dudes. And
Oh my god.
and so in Persona 5, it was great because in segue. So Persona 5, it lets you name the character, and so his name was Dude or Dude. And then it says, okay, I don't get this part. They always say you can name the Phantom Thieves. And I'm like, aren't we the Phantom Thieves? All right, whatever. So I put the Cool Dudes. So Dude or Dude and the Cool Dudes. And I use that for all my band names, and I have forever. And it just reminds me, I'm going to do a special shout out to someone who probably isn't listening, but a friend of mine, because when she was doing this, she put in a name, and then the Phantom Thieves, she was like, she got confused, so she just put the Phantom Thieves again.
Okay.
So it would say so she was telling me, she's like, oh, my name is Lame in Persona 5. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, well, it's just my name, like, you know, I'm not gonna say her name. I'm not gonna dox her, but it's like it's just her name, and it's her in the Phantom Thieves. And she was like, "What was your name?" I was like, "Dude or Dude and the Cool Dudes." Like, what the hell? And she's like, "Oh, I really fucked this up," and I'm like, "You did."
Like, she's like deleting an 80-hour save to be like, I gotta fucking correct
Rename
this mistake.
Mistakes.
But yeah, Dude or Dude and the Cool Dudes. So what was yours?
Well, taking it back to our Simpsons conversation.
God damn it.
So, you guys remember the Hank Scorpio episode? Okay.
Get the hell out of here!
So in the Hank Scorpio episode, there's a promotional video for the town in which Hank Scorpio... Why am I laughing so hard? So there's a promotional video for the town, and it shows like... it shows like a slum turning into a nice building. And it cuts to all these ugly things turning into nice things. And then the final transformation is a homeless person turning into a mailbox. And so my band was Hobo Mailbox.
That's great. That's a great name. I thought you were going to call it
Hobo Mailbox.
I thought you were going to call it the Hammock Emporium. No.
Yeah. We were Hobo Mailbox, and
it's really good.
That name alone brought so much joy and so much replay value to the fucking game.
Oh yeah,
it was ridiculous. Also, Arnie, I know you wanted to jump in there. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Even in spite of Dude or Dude and the Cool Dudes and Hobo Mailbox,
right.
Our winner is Raphael, dear patron in our chat, who says, "Not kidding, I hate my younger self. His band name was Dick Twister.
Okay.
Just, oh my god.
So edgy.
When I saw that pop up in
What a
chat, I
brave-
can barely hold it together.
What a brave
I need
person.
clarity on something. Is it like I'm seeing three distinct possibilities here. I'm seeing a motion in which you grab somebody's genitals and twist them. I'm seeing a spin-off of the family board game Twister, or I'm seeing like an even more inappropriate spin-off of the 90s tornado movie.
Yeah,
Twister.
absolutely. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
So I think it's
with penises in a
Twister.
tornado. See, that's funny because I saw a fourth opportunity, which is, do you guys remember Bruno, the follow-up to Borat?
Yes. I
And
wish I
there's, like,
didn't,
a
but I
close-up.
do. Yes.
And there's a close-up on his crotch, and he's just swinging it around in a circle. That's kind of what I figured.
It's fucking high art.
What was our first? Oh, okay. Raph is clear. He's clarified it for us.
Here we go.
Arnie,
Oh.
it was number one. It was the grabbing
I see.
and the twisting. That is the that was the intent.
You know,
followed
sometimes, Raphael, sometimes I don't want to know how the sausage is made. You know what I mean? It's like sometimes ice cream is just ice cream. It's delicious. I don't want rock salt and cream. I just want to eat the frozen dessert.
Well,
But-
Mike, I will. I'll cut that part from the show. I'll cut the answer from the show,
There you
thus saving our listeners
Yeah.
and preserving this beautiful
it can be-
mystery.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You are a brave person.
Maybe Dick
That's
Twister is just the
amazing.
friends we made along the way, you know?
Such a Dick Twister is such a fantastic name, man. Jeez.
Oh dear God. All right.
All right.
Yeah, in case we were ever wondering if Twitch was a bad idea,
Right.
not a bad idea,
Yeah.
because it brought us Dick Twister. So, thank you very much.
And that's a soundbite.
Anyhow, so Rock Band 2 we got a whole bunch of releases here. Rock Band Unplugged for the PlayStation Portable.
Oof.
I know I'm saying, right?
Pun.
But it makes sense,
What more do you
though.
need to say other than that?
It makes
sound
sense
effect?
because MTV had like the MTV Unplugged thing.
Yeah.
I gotta assume this is like something. So were they all acoustic songs? Like, how do you play it?
No, I'm assuming
You
it's
play it
because
on
it's
your
portable.
PSP.
But like
I'm
with
assuming it's because
buttons?
it's but I'm assuming it's unplugged because it's portable, right? Like that's the pun.
I think that's
see.
a pun, yeah.
Oh,
That does make more sense than mine.
It's just
earning his
acoustic.
pay right here.
The PSP one is a fuck you if you're on PSP. You just get acoustic track.
You just pop it in and it's just the entire like Nirvana Unplugged set. That's the whole
Oh my
track
god, I
list.
love it. I love it
comes with a
so
sweater.
much. I love it so much. Like the PSP fans are like, yes, finally I can play Guitar Hero and Rock Band on the go. And it's just like a bunch of like acoustic ballads. Can't wait to jam out to Layla. Oh, cool. This could be great.
A lot
Like-
of Sarah McLachlan on this one, huh?
So man,
Fucking-
it's like, well, man, I can't wait to play. I'm the one that wants to be with you. This is great, Mr. Big. All of Mr. Big. Wow, a whole evening. Sorry, that was another Simpsons. I
Yeah,
couldn't help it.
we're beating the horse now.
Yeah.
Beatles Rock
That's a good
Band
band
released
name, Beating the
September
Horse.
2000. Fucking guy.
Yeah.
Beatles Rock Band released September 2009.
Yes.
This one was great,
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
as far as I can
Yeah.
tell.
Yeah.
Like just like an absolute love letter to the band, and very well
Yep.
produced. And actually, they did end up releasing other band-specific Rock Band games. One, really. But this was the only one to come actually bundled with instruments. It's got that cool
Yeah.
Beatles drum kit.
But I think
that now...
Sorry to interrupt. Didn't Guitar Hero do like AC/DC Guitar Hero, or somebody did an AC/DC one?
I thought Rock Band
They,
did it.
they did and they
Yeah.
didn't. Guitar Hero, and we'll get into fuck it. We'll just talk about the reasons for the failure now, because like with every subsequent Rock Band game we talk about, the reasons are becoming more and more clear anyway. But not to jump around too much. But yeah, this is the thing, right? Like Harmonix releases Beatles Rock Band.
Yeah.
It is only Beatles tracks.
Yep.
It is a huge love letter to the Beatles made by musicians / programmers at Harmonix, right?
Yep.
And the Beatles themselves. The remaining
Beatles themselves,
the remaining
absolutely.
Beatles were involved with it.
Oh, wow.
By the way, also Beatles Rock Band does not happen without MTV Networks in the mix, because they were the ones who were able to broker the deal with Apple, who owned all the Beatles tracks. So anyway, so Harmonix, they know for sure this doesn't happen without MTV. So in a way that's good, in other ways not so great. However, then you have Activision, and they release, just as an example, Metallica.
Oh, that's
Guitar
right.
Hero Metallica,
that was the other one.
Right? Yeah. Now, Guitar Hero Metallica has Metallica tracks, and then it has a bunch of tracks from other bands that kind of sound like Metallica. And it's like the difference in philosophy just could not be more stark, right? You have Activision's philosophy, which is just like, crank it out there, put Metallica's name on it, and we're done, right? But then you have Harmonix, who is like, no, this is a carefully curated Beatles-only product for the fans, right?
Well, you should have seen the flags when they released that fucking abomination of a Guitar Hero DS game with the, like, fucked up little thing you attached that had the buttons on it, and you had to strum. Like, what a way to make you look more insane in public, huh? Like, name one. I was already like, man, I barely want to play this thing because I have to blow into it in like half the games, and I don't want to do that on the train. Now I have to like sit there at the airport like strumming my damn thing.
No, that's the DS Guitar Hero game was a portable version of Guitar Hero to play at home. It is really when nobody was looking is what it comes down to.
To play it on the toilet, I guess.
What?
Could you? Isn't it a little bit cumbersome for that?
I've never tried it. But again, I also haven't tried it because I'm fucking left-handed. And guess what? You can't fucking play it left-handed, I don't think. I think that was like an issue with it, was that it only like sticks one way. Yeah. And they didn't have
You are not the only person disappointed by this.
I'm very disappointed as well.
It was always great when people were like, all right, let's get in the next song. And I'm like, wait a second. Go in the menu, left-handed mode. Okay, go back now. All right, now we can I got to take the extra 15 seconds. And God forbid I hand my instrument to somebody and forget to change it from left-handed mode, because then fucking all hell breaks loose.
They're like, well, I don't want to play the devil's way. And then
I'm really enjoying the bitterness. This is great.
As someone who plays inverted, with vertical axis inverted, I feel your pain.
You play the Jimi Hendrix style?
No. I mean, I play my games where I control the right analog stick and I invert it. And everyone's basically like, what are you, some kind of freak? Are you flying a plane? And I'm like, shut up.
That's the thing, right? For people of our vintage, Mike, we grew up playing these, space simulators and flight simulators when we were kids, and you only ever had inverted controls.
Yeah, no, up should go up, guys.
But Arnie, you're right. Up should go up. For the vast majority of normal people, up should go up.
Oh, yeah? Well, why don't you just learn how to play with your right hand, Arnie? How about that?
Dude, you're this close to making me go off on safety scissors. I fucking playing with fire, my friend.
Sorry.
Arnie, I feel your pain. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
Quick question, Arnie.
Go on.
Since we're talking about Rock Band, when I see a pair of scissors that like where the two loops, the two things that you put your fingers into, when they're the exact same size, shouldn't you be able to use them the same? This is a legit question.
They suck for everyone. They just suck.
That is the correct answer. But the problem is like the loops are uncomfortable. But because I swear to God, I like actively avoided using scissors for the longest time. The problem for me, from what I could remember, was that there was like a blade that was sharper than the other. Like there's one blade that's supposed to cut, and so if you're holding it the opposite way, like you're cutting like all fucked up. Like you have like no control over where the fucking scissors are going. So it was like fucking like the flashback of like, all right, now we're gonna take our construction paper, we're gonna cut a circle, and I'm like, here's my rhombus, I guess, because like I can't, like, you're not accommodating my disability now, apparently.
Yeah,
man. Arnie has
All right.
Arnie has
brought back
nightmares about it.
memories.
Like,
Wow.
other people have nightmares that they're not wearing clothes in class.
Yeah.
When they're a little kid, Arnie is like, "Okay, class, pick up your safety scissors." And so like,
wing 'em across the
room. Like, just.
Oh man.
Oh god.
I'm sorry.
Anyhow, so no, I mean these are important questions. I'm glad I asked because my wife is left-handed and we have some scissors around the house that have like, the equally sized finger loops.
Yeah.
God, there's handle. Handle is the word that I'm looking for, not finger loops. God, what an idiot.
Yeah.
So they have like equally sized handles.
Yeah.
And I still see her kind of struggling with the scissors.
Yeah.
And I don't say anything. I mean, she's going to listen to this and, divorce. But like, I don't say anything, but I see her kind of struggling with them. And I'm like, wow, man, what the hell is this?
Yeah. Scissor technology has come a long way.
Yeah.
From what it used to be.
But you stick with the Bowie knife, right? Like whenever you need to cut something.
Listen, if I have to cut something, I find the nearest right-handed person, and I'm just like, sir, please help me for God's sake.
Anyhow, to wrap up with Rock Band, I know we started talking about kind of the reasons for the whole demise. Yep. We kind of jumped into that a little bit, but let me tell you, one reason. And we'll get into this in a little more detail. Oversaturation. Mm-hmm. Got Beatles Rock Band. We've got Lego Rock Band. Lego Rock Band released 3 months after Beatles Rock Band, which was in turn released 3 months after Rock Band Unplugged. The next year, Green Day Rock Band 3, also Green 2010. Day. Like you can already see where this is going.
Keyboard. Anybody use the keyboard?
Oh, absolutely.
I've never used the keyboard. Is it good?
I've never used it.
No, I never got Rock Band 3.
Yeah, it was kind of dead at that point. It was
too late, yeah.
Yeah, it fell off a cliff, so,
they're pumping out games faster than fucking Call of Duty out here, like...
Yeah.
What is this?
Not to mention Guitar Hero. I didn't even make a list of the Guitar Hero games. Yeah. It was pointless. I would have been here all fucking day.
I remember being like, wow, it's really come to this when they started doing like specific genre packs. Like it's like, here's country music, here's like like metal or something. And I was like, this is it. Like, because, and correct me if I'm wrong, couldn't you go online and like buy individual songs?
Yes.
Like, wasn't that a thing for a while? And I was like, why? This thing just makes money. Just keep putting songs on the online thing. Why are you releasing like $40 track packs with like 15 songs, of which I want to play like 2?
Dude, the same reason Netflix still mails out movies. There are people who just won't do it, right?
You're right?
They're busy typing with their index finger on their phones.
You're right.
So to wrap it up, Rock Band Blitz uses a standard controller. What? I don't understand. That's 2012.
Hadn't even heard of this.
Exactly, me neither.
No.
And of course, finally, Rock Band 4 and Rock Band VR. Rock Band 4, they really kind of bet the farm again on this one. This was 2015 on the PS4.
Wow.
And it kind of infamously...
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it caused Mad Catz to go bankrupt. They had like the U-Draw tablet, a whole bunch of other kind of failures at the time. But certainly their investment in peripherals for Rock Band 4 strongly contributed to the demise of Mad Catz.
I remember because Guitar Hero released Guitar Hero Live, and that was like the comeback for Guitar Hero or whatever that lasted like all of a year, I guess.
That sounds generous.
Yeah. That was the odd one. That was the one where it was all FMV, right? Like it was like...
Yeah, it was weird. I remember it because I was actually working retail for like 6 months when it actually came out, and I was like, this is so strange.
Yeah.
Huh. My biggest takeaway from this is that you worked retail for 6 months. I didn't know that.
At a FYE.
Oh.
In Arlington, Virginia.
Nice.
I remember the
I have no idea
biggest game that came out
like the
year I was working. Actually, no, I wasn't. I don't think I was around for Guitar Hero Live. The biggest game that came out while I was working there, it was fucking Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, God.
Of course.
On which system?
Wait, you mean the PS5 game that's coming out soon? Grand Theft Auto 5? That's amazing.
I'm talking about the OG Classic. On the PS Trace.
Wow.
Wow. All right, everybody. let's take a little break here. When we come back, we'll talk about the many reasons here for the demise. It's not just the oversaturation. There's a lot going on to unpack here, so stick around.
On the back of a hurricane that started turning when you were young. When you were young. And sometimes you close your eyes and see the place where you used to live when you were young.
All right, everyone, we're back. Why did this fail? Why did this fail? Let's start out with probably the number one culprit. It's hard to do a power rankings of all the reasons why this genre just kind of fell off a cliff. Yeah, I know. But the one that's in my heart is Activision.
Yeah.
Number one. So the story goes that Harmonix is bought by MTV, and MTV says, Harmonix, you guys just keep doing your thing. And Harmonix is basically able to keep doing their thing. They're able to select the songs that they want, curate the experience so that it's accessible for everyone. I know it sounds like I'm painting Harmonix in a very positive light here, but I am. Like they're clearly passionate about their product, and it's really hard to fault a developer who is working that way, right? On the other hand, you have Activision. They buy the Guitar Hero IP, they buy Red Octane, and they bring on Neversoft to work on the Guitar Hero franchise. Now, Neversoft, we know at the time, talented developer, right? And they did well with Guitar Hero. Yeah, they did very well considering they're kind of coming into it from scratch, and they have to crank out Guitar Hero 3 in like 6 months.
Yeah, I was going to say, on the face of it, who do you want curating your rock video game? The guys who like skateboarding. They will probably not fuck it up very badly.
They won't fuck it up very badly. There are differences, though.
I'm sure.
Neversoft's approach was more of a, we're going to make this even more and more difficult for the hardcore player. And Harmonix's approach was basically the opposite, is we want to make this as accessible to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Also, Neversoft, I mean, according to Red Octane, the CEO of Red Octane was like, yeah, Neversoft, talented people, but they were dicks to work with, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. He actually said that on the record. And, you know, we've got Activision just kind of like not really caring so much about the music curation. Like we said before, they released the Metallica one, but it's not really a tribute to Metallica. It's just got a bunch of Metallica songs and then a whole bunch of other heavy metal bands, right? They've got the Guitar Hero games for handhelds that we mentioned as well. And even just like the approach of developer towards the characters in the game, like Activision, Neversoft come on, and immediately Guitar Hero gets like broed the fuck up. Right? Like the female characters, I kid you not, man. I read this and I was like, go fuck yourself. In one of the descriptions of one of the female characters from Guitar Hero 1 and 2, she comes into Guitar Hero 3 and she has, quote, embraced her femininity. Which of course means she's wearing a lot less clothes, right?
Fucking
fuck me.
There's no better way to say it than just
what a good
out.
What a good that was a marketing pitch meeting right there. It's like, all right, what if we said embrace your femininity? Like,
it's just
up there with fucking synergy as like just a word that means nothing to these people.
Yeah.
It's incredible. And people notice this, man. People notice this stuff. Like, I know at the time I couldn't put my finger on it, but the Guitar Hero games started lacking soul. There were too many of them. And it's funny, I was talking to John, one of our patrons, who I met up with in Toronto, and I'm like, dude, you're in marketing. What is it about this oversaturation that makes people just want to that makes products toxic to people, right? And he hit the nail on the head. He's like, look, especially in Western culture, but I think this applies everywhere, is people just kind of want to be individuals. And as soon as something reaches the masses in a way that no longer makes it special, then that's it. It's no longer special. Mm-hmm. And I think when you combine that with, when you combine that oversaturation that Activision brought to the table, and, Harmonix and Viacom to a lesser extent, when you combine that with this kind of soulless, I kid you not, man, Activision, the Red Octane CEO, he's like, hey, we need to like curate this properly. And the people at Activision were saying, no, we don't. We need to make sure that it looks good on the back of the box. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. We need to milk this for as long as possible.
Yeah. To them, it was a fad, and it was like, this is going to die anyway, so we gotta get as much money as we can out of it. Mm-hmm. And then because they do that, they kill it. Exactly. And it's this self-fulfilling prophecy. And I also think it's such a great way to put it that it lacks that soul. And the real bummer is that they're not bad games. Like technically,
no, they're not.
Like everything is kind of there and they're still fun to play. It's just in the same way that, you can still have fun playing certain games from Activision. There's that sheen of you just kind of feel a little, this is a little too corporate. It's still fun. Like, there's still something there, but
sure.
It's so hard to shake that off, especially when you play, Rock Band 1 and 2. And I didn't play 3, but, when you play those and you see all the little details that they put in, like all the band posters, the band shots, and all the little messaging and stuff. It's just there's so much more sort of personality to it and love for it. I mean, and the Beatles one, not to bring it back too much, but just to quickly say, like, I kind of want to explicitly tell people that if they haven't experienced the Beatles game, like, we're not downplaying it when we're saying that it's such a love letter. It's unbelievable the amount of polish that they put into every song, that Harmonix put into every song and every video, and the personality they put into it, and the sheer kind of love and celebration of their music. And Activision has none of that. Like, just none.
No. Even like the loading screens in Rock Band where they have their pro tips. Yeah. And the pro tips generally don't have anything to do with the game. Yeah. But they have more to do with like how to be a band in real life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, these are all tips that their employees who were in bands came up with for the loading screens. There's so many little touches there, right? And even, man, not to beat a dead horse, but like the music curation, it's spot on with Rock Band. It gets diluted quite a bit with the DLC, which actually kind of, brings us to the next point here. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but like, look, here's the thing. I have Rock Band. A friend of mine has Rock Band. I have Rock Band 2. Mm-hmm. Another friend of mine has Rock Band 2. We have no DLC. We go to each other's houses. We know exactly what's coming. We know what songs we want to play. Everybody kind of has the same experience, right? Yeah. And we can talk about how cool Maps is on the drums because everybody has Maps, right? And so on and so forth. Once you start getting into the DLC, because now we're looking at 3,000 plus songs in the whole Rock Band universe, which is staggering. But personally, I found that once the DLC started becoming like this weekly track pack kind of thing, I just felt like, you know what, this is actually too much. Yeah. Because like the DLC that I have is not going to be what my friends have. We're not kind of playing at the similar skill levels anymore. Am I off on this? Because that's how I felt with it.
No.
I think it was like a combination of, I'm excited for this track, but I'm going to be the only one who's excited for this track.
Yeah. For me personally, I wonder, like, I can only speak to myself, and for me, it was more like it was overwhelming. It was sort of like, well, where do I start? Like, there's so many, do I just play the songs that I like now? And it was actually, that choice was kind of a little paralyzing in a way. I don't want to say that I was like anxiety attack, but like, but there was, you guys know what I mean? Like, there was like a bit of choice paralysis because of how many options there were. And for me personally, that was more what it was. And I think for other people, it might have been too, because all of a sudden it was like, okay, well, do I have to check with the rest of my friends who are playing what songs they want to play? And now I got to sort of look for them. And maybe, I don't know, it it's exactly what you were saying, Paul. Like, having it be the kind of pre-described thing, it takes away all that choice. It takes away all of it, and it's just like, okay, here it is. The only exception, I think, would be that you could buy albums. Mm-hmm. And I think that was kind of okay and kind of interesting, because if, let's say, you and your friends were really into, one particular band, it was like, oh man, we can play all of this band's tracks from this album that we all love, and let's practice that. I think that kind of makes sense, like to fulfill that fantasy. But yeah, when it came time to sort of more the average or casual players, it was like, well, where do we even start? And there's so much here, and there, there might have even been people who felt like it was kind of predatory. Like, maybe people, I'm not saying that's fair, but maybe people just saw all the stuff and they thought, oh, microtransactions, or, oh, what the hell, like, again, I'm not saying that's a fair assumption, but I could see people making that too, going like, why isn't it just free?
Yeah.
So that was what it was for me. I don't know about Arnie, Kelly, what you guys think?
Yeah, for me, it was easy, because I was, like, my friends and I were, I don't want to say smart, but once I got Rock Band, everybody was like, okay, you're the Rock Band guy now. Like, I don't need to get this. We'll just come over to your place, or you bring it somewhere and we'll play it. And I was very averse to online stuff. Like, I was digitally averse to a lot of stuff. Like, I didn't like playing online games, with the exception of World of Warcraft for a bit. But I was like, I don't need to get anywhere near this, like, music store shit. Especially, I didn't have my own I didn't have my own, like, cards at the time, so I couldn't, like, sign myself. I'd have to, like, go to my mom and be like, hey, can you sign me up for XYZ? And I'm like,
huge barrier to entry.
The amount of time I'm gonna have to, like, explain this to you, walk you through the process, just so I could play, like, I don't know, fucking like Aaron Carter's Aaron's Party or whatever on Rock Band. I'm like, I don't need to do this. Like, so we would
Was that really a track?
No.
Okay.
No, it was a CD that I owned as a child. I went to see him live once.
Oh, yes.
This is an episode.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much today.
Yeah.
But what we would do, I think eventually what happened is we would just make a game within a game. Like, we would do the endless mode and try to play every song in, like, one, like, the marathon mode. I remember me and my friends did one where we were trying to play some song on expert, and every time we failed, we had to take a shot. Like, we that was a fun one. We failed a lot.
And it probably kept getting worse as you kept failing.
No, there was like it was this weird thing, because at some point you, like, peak. Like, at first, it's definitely getting worse, and then, like, sort of muscle memory starts taking over.
You get
and then
that zen moment.
You get to a point where you're like, oh, we're so close, and then it just immediately, like, goes to shit.
Yeah,
Arnie, it's the other way around. You start to get better. You're like, yo, we sound pretty good.
Yeah.
And after a while, and then you think you sound even better. Dude, we're like...
Somebody completely sober walks in that room, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening here?
Yeah. I
always enjoy the latecomer who's sober at every get together. That poor person, man. I always feel bad for them.
But ultimately, like, we each developed, like, our own favorite songs, and, like, we kind of figured each other out to the point where we were like, all right, so we're playing this song, then we're moving into this one, and then we knew what tracks were better to play early and what tracks were better to play late, what tracks, like, people could sing along to, what tracks were more for, like, just us. And so that's how we sort of made it. And we did not do the Paul thing of, like, we'll rotate instruments. Everybody pretty much had, like, an assigned instrument. They were like, this is the one I like. And so I'm just going to play this one. So nice. I avoided, like, a lot of the pitfalls of that stuff, though we did sometimes wish that we could play some of the, like, DLC songs.
Yeah.
But it never really got boring until one day we were just like, I guess we're done with this now. Like, you know, there wasn't like a slow decline where we were like trying to force ourselves to still play Rock Band. It was just like one day we were like, nah.
Yeah. And this is another factor. And this is something, I think it was Aaron Agozi who talked about it. Look, this is a game that is kind of limited in its ability, in its creativity, and its ability to surprise. That's another thing that I think is really important here. Like, I've just got written here in the notes, like Electronic Arts, for example, they can release a FIFA game every year. And we make fun of FIFA all the time in Discord, right? Because they release a fucking FIFA every year and you're playing the same game, you know, for all intents and purposes, right? There's a few changes here and there. There's some improvements. And, you know, like our buddy Ray, you know, he buys NBA 2K every year because he plays a season with his friends, and that's great. But essentially, these are very, very similar iterations from year to year, right? But the difference between that and something like Rock Band is that when you play FIFA, there are, within the scope of that football field and that ball and those 11 players, there are infinite possibilities. There are infinite ways to win, infinite ways to score, and you have the possibility of being surprised. Whereas with something like Rock Band, you know, I go online and I watch a video of some guy doing Coheed and Cambria on very hard, and he does it perfectly. And I'm like, that's cool. But then if you watch a video of another guy doing that song, it's the exact same thing, right? There's no surprise there. And I think, Arnie, that's probably a big reason why, you know, your group dropped it and my group dropped it. We just kind of stopped being surprised. Am I wrong here?
No, that you know, that sort of was definitely a factor in it. I think that's why when 3 came out, I was like, if only I could just get this keyboard by itself, maybe that would be like a new sort of way to get in it, you know?
Yeah.
But I, you know, never got the chance, and it sort of just died off after that. It was also kind of annoying. Like, if I remember correctly, the problem with the keyboard was that, like, it wasn't like you could add the keyboard to your full band now, because there's only 4 controller spots. So, like, you have to give up another instrument to put the keyboard in.
Oh, no, not the bass guitar.
I'm saying. And I was the fucking Rock Band guy. You think I'm going to let that happen?
Also,
fucking vocalist
I would
is out of here.
Now we know why it
I would
really
assume
died.
that I would assume it would also limit some of the older tracks and stuff that you can play with, right?
Yeah.
Because not everything.
Because they don't have keyboard tracks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if they had come out with a guitar now, then we would have been
now
been
we're
fucking going on
right?
forever.
Funny, you mentioned the every person had their assigned role. That really is how I should have done it too, because I had a couple friends. This was actually when I first discovered that tone deafness was a thing. Because I had a couple friends. I had a roommate and another buddy of mine. They grabbed that microphone and they legitimately did not know why they were constantly failing at the vocals. And I'm like, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, I can't tell you what a bad singer you are in a way that won't hurt your feelings. So all I can do is just kind of shrug and be like, oh no, man, weird programming, right? Like, you guys sound great.
You should have recorded it and just played back.
Oh my God, I should have. But who knows? Maybe they would have been like...
No, you could be like, hey, check out this other guy singing or something. And just see
Oh, that would have been...
Maybe.
See, I just love...
It was you all along.
My roommate used to walk around the house just kind of like singing some tunes to himself. And I'd be like, oh, dear God, like, man, you have no idea. This is amazing.
It's true.
Anyway.
I just love your worldview prior to this, where you thought everyone just had perfect pitch all the time.
I mean, not perfect, but like...
some sort of...
Could carry a
Some of
tune,
these-
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we can put that under the list of contributions to demise. Tone deaf friends. Ruining the experience. Man, oh man. Yeah, and you know, like there are some other things here too, right? Like, you know, the whole thing with the peripherals, like, why buy more peripherals, right? Like, you've got a situation where, and Arnie, you mentioned this earlier, was a good point. The amount of units sold versus amount of money made, like on a per unit basis, their profit margins,
huge,
because of these plastic, they're gigantic, right? But then you reach a point where, well, everybody's already got the peripherals.
Yep.
We've already got the drum sets. We've already got the guitars. Now we're just selling the software, and our profit margins just take a huge nosedive.
Anybody
right?
who wanted to play it either owned it or had a friend who owned it.
Yeah.
And if somebody I know owns it, why I'm not going to buy the whole set, you know? Maybe I'll buy a guitar or something, but I'm not going to do that.
Exactly. Yeah, no. And within my circle, I think we had like 2 people.
Yeah.
You know, 2 people who actually had the whole thing. It was me and it was another buddy of mine. We kind of like alternate houses and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just a huge hit for them.
And it wasn't, you know, I don't know if you guys ever had this problem, but like transporting the thing was not difficult at all. Like I would load it up in my car very easily and take it anywhere I needed to go.
Yeah, no, I just refuse to. You're a much better person than I am. We've also got, and you know what? Nobody ever mentioned this too, but like we had a gigantic economic crash in 2008. You know, we have a whole bunch of people now who can't afford these gigantic kits or even the software that goes with them when they can just get like $1 or $2 worth of DLC from time to time, right? So, you know, that's another thing. Funnily enough, Rock Band Japan, Harmonix actually had plans to release Rock Band in Japan and couldn't because they came upon an inconvenient discovery, which is that nobody in Japan has space for Rock Band in their apartment.
What? I'm sorry? Not everyone has like 3,000 square foot homes with like multiple.
It's unbelievable.
Multiple bathrooms.
I know. You'd think on this tiny island of 100+ million people, they would devote some space to
real estate, baby.
To real estate, but you know they actually value kind of keeping things small and minimalist living for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, they had plans. They had X Japan signed up to do tracks.
That would have been sick.
Yeah, they did.
That would have been fucking awesome.
I know. It was all lined up,
Damn.
and then when they did their market research, they're like, you know what? This is never gonna work.
Dude, there would have been families clapping politely all over the fucking all over.
Very polite gifts to be like, could you please stop playing Rock Band? It's keeping us awake. Very, very polite moments of that happening.
Yeah.
Or like, please do not be our singer anymore.
Yeah. So many.
Really
I can just see all the discolored guitars from all the cigarette smoke in all these places.
Oh my goodness.
You mean it's not already yellow? But yeah, like that's kind of it in a nutshell. Like it's a lot of factors, and personally, I've never seen a genre just kind of hit the market like a nuclear bomb in that manner, and also fizzle out in that manner.
Yeah,
never. Like, you know, fighting games declined in the late 90s, early 2000s. They had a huge boom in 92, but they didn't fall off a cliff like this. It wasn't like everybody just suddenly stopped playing.
Yeah.
And they eventually did make a comeback with the advent of online play. But other than that, I can't think of any other genre. Like, can you guys?
No.
Arcades.
Yeah, I mean, arcades.
No, they had a long, drawn out, painful death.
Yeah, this was.
Yeah.
How much of that is the peripheral, right? Like all of a sudden, because the peripheral was such a part of it, and if that's not interesting, and I mean, it's exactly what you were saying, that lack of creativity, like all this stuff kind of blends together, because with fighting games, it's exactly like you said, there's always going to be some new fighting game that has a new approach to it, that has a new game feel, that opens up all these possibilities. So yes, it absolutely fell off a cliff in the sense of it's way less popular than, during the peak Street Fighter 2 Mortal Kombat days, but fighting games are still super strong. They're not as popular, but they're still super strong. There's still absolutely a community. But then you look at, rhythm games. Let's see. It's like, yeah, no, man, it's not there. Like, it's just not.
Taiko Drum Master is still killing it.
Yeah, there's still some rhythm games. It's just ones that have the giant peripherals and everything else. They're
no, now our bodies are the peripherals. We're playing, Just Dance. Harmonix came out with Dance Central on the Kinect. I think that's kind of where it goes. I mean, we can segue here into the legacy left behind by, and Harmonix is still around. I'm making it sound like they're dead. They're still around. They're still cranking out games. It's just never going to be as successful. Let's not kid ourselves, right? But like that's one of the legacies left behind, is that, you know, the peripheral based music game, I think, is not dead, but it's, you know, still played. It's still played by people, don't get me wrong. And I'll bet you anything, if I pull out my Rock Band kit and play it with a bunch of friends now, we'd probably have a really good time.
Yeah.
We just wouldn't have a really good time every week like we used to, right? So I think that's one of the things that's left behind here, is that, yeah, the rhythm game itself isn't dead. It's just now kind of in a different form.
Yes.
And I think it involves people moving more than they did before, right?
Yeah. Or, you know, or it's gone niche like Rocksmith, you know, where it's like, hey, let's actually have a real instrument.
Yeah. Let's teach you how to play guitar with video games.
Yeah. Yeah, which I'm all for, man. I thought Rocksmith was a great idea and well executed. I never actually used it myself because, you know, I don't have the patience, unfortunately, for a musical instrument. But I thought it was a great idea. Or sometimes like
an ancillary part of another game. You know, like there's plenty of, you know, I'm thinking immediately of WarioWare, but Elite Beat Agents, like all of those rhythm type tapping games, which are much more about sort of the spectacle and just kind of playing in unison. But but again, none of it, besides Donkey Konga, which looks sick, by the way. I've never played it, but it looks awesome.
What about it's kind Taiko Drum Master, sir? They also have a big
should I just keep ignoring you every time you say this now?
They have a big fuck off drum that they still sell to people. Isn't there like a PS4 one that came out like not that long ago?
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
No, not that long ago. And from what I saw the last time I was in Japan at the arcades, probably the most popular game there, man. Right. People love beating on that taiko drum. Yeah, man. Holy shit.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it's super fun. And it's one that's like, you know, when the fuck else am I going to play a taiko drum other than right now in this arcade?
Yeah, exactly. Kelly, any memories from Guitar Hero? Any favorites you want to share?
Mostly for Guitar Hero, it was just basically, like I say, I got into it late, so we had just had the base games, but it was just coming home from work at night and just playing for a couple hours before passing out and doing it all the next day. So coming into it late did have its advantage that you got everything real cheap, that's for sure.
Yep.
You know, your most fond memory could be the money that you saved.
Like,
right? Like that's a very fond memory for me for many things.
We got like the Legends of Rock 3 Guitar Hero, and then we got I think 2 of the DLC physical discs for free with it for like $15. So
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. They were trying to offload. I mean, there is, for people who do thrift stores and stuff, there's just an era where you couldn't throw a rock in a Goodwill without hitting a fucking Guitar Hero plastic controller sitting in some bin somewhere for like $2.
Dude, tons of them. Tons of them.
And now,
Arnie, what about you? Any favorite memories of this time?
Oh man, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's like I tie it back to specific songs. You know, like I was telling Mike on break. You know, there's like Lump, which was a song that I'd never heard of before. I fucking love that song. I listened to that song after I played it on Rock Band like a million times. And it was just like there's a bunch of songs like that, like PDA by Interpol, Psycho Killer by the Talking Heads, like all these songs that I was just like, it's fun to experience something new in a new way. And even songs that I was already listening to, like Chop Suey, like Give It Away by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, like playing it with an instrument made me fall in love with a song all over again, because I was now experiencing it in a completely different way. So all of my best memories are tied to like the songs that I really liked playing on those games.
Nice. Mike?
Well, it's to tag off on what Arnie just said. I mean, playing some of these games and all of a sudden you're listening to them so much differently as you're playing them, and all of a sudden you start hearing these things you didn't hear before, and it kind of makes you really appreciate it more. And I think again, it's we already touched on this about how the Guitar Hero series and the Rock Band series kind of shed some light on some bands and really kind of made, I mean, to be honest, some of them even made their careers. Like, you know, Avenged Sevenfold would not be a band like still going if it wasn't for
I was
Guitar
listening
Hero,
to them.
you know, Dragon Force, same thing. But the thing is even with the classic stuff, like Arnie was just mentioning, like Psycho Killer, man, you know how many people probably never heard of the Talking Heads or knew at all who they were, then heard that song and went, oh, this is weird. What is this? You know, and kind of just look it up and start to get into more of their stuff. Like that, it was probably, I don't think it can be discounted how much of a gateway it probably was to a lot of like younger players to, you know, discovering all this other new kind of music. So, yep. For me personally, it was a cool way to appreciate guitar playing a lot more and to kind of appreciate how amazing these people are at what they do, and to discover that, you know, a lot of older bands that I hadn't really given a chance to because I thought it might be old fashioned and kind of appreciate it more. And I mean, I'll be honest, for me, you know, I bought it because it was fun to play with friends, and you know, I love Interpol and all those bands, but it was when I heard the Beatles thing was coming, and, you know, Beatles is a big band for me and my family. And so it was just kind of like, well, I got to get it, you know, I have to play that. And so I have a lot of memories of playing Beatles songs and just kind of relaxing. It's still like a really relaxing kind of jam to just sort of play that stuff. But that's what I remember. That, and the first time I played it, I was at a mall, and I was playing at a demo station, Guitar Hero 1, and I was playing it, and I was so into it that my dad actually was angry at me in the mall. He was like, we need to go. And it was like I was a little kid, and I was like, no, this is one more song. Like, oh God, whatever. And I was like playing it more. And it was like, and I was like 24 years old, you know, and it's just, and it really was this crazy moment of I was like, this is something, man. Like, this is really something special, you know, at the time. And so once in a while, it's cool to break it back out and play, you know, and you kind of feel that again. Especially the Harmonix stuff. You really feel it with the Harmonix stuff. It's really, it's such a place and time kind of thing.
Very much so. Very much so. My, if just to kind of round things out here, to your point, Mike, as well, there were more than one, like we're talking several bands that were formed by Harmonix employees who then put their songs in Rock Band and had their own bands not explode but become popular because of it's absolutely incredible, like what kind of influence it had. If I had to pick a memory, there was one night, this almost has nothing to do with the game itself, but like we were so into Rock Band at the time that the Super Bowl was airing one night, and it was the Super Bowl, the first match between the Patriots and the Giants, and the Patriots had gone undefeated that season. And my friends and I were like, well, this is a pointless game to watch. Like, there's no way the Giants are gonna win. Like, screw it, let's just play Rock Band. And so we played Rock Band for a few hours, and then we found out after the game that it was like one of the greatest games in the history of NFL football. The Giants upset the Patriots.
Randy Moss
Darth
never
Vader
got his
was
ring.
Defeated. Yeah, exactly. And we're like, oh man. But I mean, we had a good time. We were playing Rock Band, so whatever, right? So anyway, that pretty much wraps things up here for us today. Again, thanks everyone so much for listening. Don't forget, tell a friend. And if you want to find us, Linktree, linktr.ee/regionfreegamers. There you'll have links to our Discord, our Instagram, our social stuff. Please check us out. And Mike, Kelly, Arnie, thanks so much for joining me, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right.
Good time as always.
Take care.